Welcome to Maximal Being,
a podcast devoted to ditching fad diets and using real science to get you healthy and feeling great.
I'm Doc Mok, a GI and functional medicine doctor who harnesses the power of gut health to get you achieving your goals.
And I'm Jackie P., a well-informed layman who challenges the experts and asks the questions that you want.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button or leave a comment.
And now, on to the show.
What's going on, Maximal Beings? Doc Mok here with MaximalBeing.com. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, leave us a comment. It does help us to get the word out. If you have any questions, you can email us at team@MaximalBeing.com. Enjoy the episode. What's going on, Maximal Being? Doc Mok here with another Maximal Being podcast. So excited to be talking about this very important topic, which is vaccinations. Obviously, this topic is of great importance to me personally, being an individual who has a mother whose mom passed away from polio about 6 months before the vaccine came to fruition. And so, we've seen in society, if we understand the history of infectious diseases, that vaccines have made a great impact on many people and has saved many lives. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, leave us a comment. It does help us to get the word out. A few important changes. So we at Maximal Being decided to get off of social media for the main reason being that, we were not excited with censorship that was occurring selectively for individuals that don't believe certain concepts or ways. It is a tough decision because, it's a little bit difficult to get the word out to people that you don't directly know on mediums, except for things like podcasting. So I really appreciate all of you that continue to support the mission of this show, which is to discuss evidence-based medicine and the impact that that has on people in our society. But, since getting off social media, I can tell you that it absolutely has not affected our listenership. Our podcast ratings continue to go up and up. And so, again, just expressing my gratitude to all of you for listening to this very important topic. So firstly, let's tackle polio. Polio is an enterovirus. It enters through the GI tract through fecal oral exposure. So something that's contaminated with another person's stool. They intake the polio virus through their mouth, and it gets absorbed into the GI tract. This polio virus then causes a polymyoneuropathy, so a series of paralyses that occur in the individual, ascending from below to above. This eventually, stops affecting things like the lower legs and then goes up into more key structures like our ability to breathe, diaphragm, ultimately leading to death. So you can imagine that's a pretty difficult way to die. It's a pretty chilling death for people. And the incidence of polio was, very high back in the 1950s. And really, when the vaccine came out, the incidence of polio dramatically decreased, almost flattened over the period until about the 1970s. And really, it has been non-existent since that time. There have been a couple of confirmed cases in the United States, one in 1990s and one in the 2000s. Both of these were in immigrants that had taken the oral polio vaccine, which contains live virus, and those individuals were identified as kind of outliers. But the wild type virus, the one that exists in the environment, has largely been eradicated due to vaccinations. So you can imagine the profound impact of getting rid of something like this. It's my understanding there's no compelling data at all about poliovirus leading to health concerns like autism. And so there seems to be no reason to get rid of something that is such a great invention of our modern society, preventing a disease that many of you may not know anything about. So that brings me to our next concept, which is measles, mumps, and rubella, or the MMR vaccination. When we get the measles virus, it's a live attenuated virus, so meaning that the virus does replicate about 50 to 20 times. It's taken up by our antigen presenting cells. So those are the cells that take the virus and bring it to our immune system so that the immune system can get immunity to it. And this has largely been a subject of controversy regarding incidents of autism based upon some papers that occurred in the 90s. Now, if you actually look at the incidence of the MMR vaccination being instituted and the trends of autism, which was roughly in the 1970s, what the authors of that paper did is they actually manipulated the graphical data to make it seem that these things were occurring at the same time, both in England and in America, when in fact, if you look at the incidence on a better graphical view, there is a significant lead time between the start of the MMR vaccination and the rise of autism in America. To really do a study to look at this, what you need to do is you need to give the vaccination to people, and you need to not give the vaccination to people, and you need to track the incidence of autism over time. And so we're lucky in modern America that these studies have been done time and time again prior to this association being determined. And you need to match the people in the study both by the time at which they received, the first diagnosis of autism and their vaccination, as well as the length of time between vaccinations and the collection of their diagnosis. So that leads us to a couple of studies. Brent Taylor and co-workers in 1999 published a study of 498 children. This was done in England. And in this study, what they found is that the percentage of children that were vaccinated was the same the percentage of children that was vaccinated and got autism was the same as those that did not get vaccinated and got autism. So there was no difference in the incidence of autism. There's no difference in the age of diagnosis found of autism. And the onset of symptoms did not occur within 2, 4, or 6 months after receiving the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccination. And so an important point also is that we can't make a diagnosis of autism until somebody is roughly about 3 years of age, due to the fact that most children under this time do a lot of things that autistic people do, which it includes parallel play and are at various stages of development, verbally and auditorily. This was followed up in 1999 with a study in the New England Journal of Medicine of 537,000 children. And this study occurred over the period of 7 years. This is by Madsen and colleagues. And 82% of the children in this study received the MMR vaccination. And again, just like the other studies, they did not find an increased risk of autism between the vaccinated group and the unvaccinated group with an age-matched cohort. So an important point to note is that people with congenital rubella infection can get autism. However, those that get rubella infections after birth do not necessarily get autism from exposure to rubella. So I think that largely as a society, I know that the vaccination schedule is coming into question with some potential picks for, our health department. I'd ask all of you to advocate for the science. There's a tremendous amount of science that exists supporting its benefit and arguing against the fact that autism is caused by vaccinations. I will also say that the individual that is making these claims has a lot of conflicts of interest into anti-vaccination groups, including active legislation against the HPV vaccination for children, and seeks 10% monetary gain should that lawsuit go in his favor. And so from a scientific perspective, imagine if your doctor was prescribing you a treatment or doing a surgery that particular doctor invented and made profit off of. That's called a conflict of interest. One might argue that a doctor that is in such a situation may do that surgery more often than alternatives, which may or may not be better, despite evidence, because they seek financial gain. And this is a well-established point that conflicts of interest do alter the behavior of individuals and physicians. Even as little as a drug representative giving a pen to a physician can impact that physician's decision to do or not do, or prescribe or not prescribe a treatment, which is why you don't see that practice occurring more, is that we know by studies that these practices exist, and it's a subtle psychological cue. So how are we to assume that individuals in our government who have such conflicts of interest don't have similar patterns? I think it's very unlikely, but draw the conclusions yourself. So with that said, if you want to vote for the guy that parties with washed up celebrities, that parties with individuals on yachts while important things are happening in this country, and who has conflicts of interest and no medical background as the person to lead your health, well, then that's fine. But when it comes time for you to get that very important treatment, look to that person. And I guarantee that there will be a great difference in the quality of advice that you get from somebody like that, as opposed to somebody that is a well-educated, well-prepared, experienced healthcare provider. So as always, this is Doc Mok. I'm here to maximize your health. And again, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, leave us a comment. It does help us to get the word out.
The content included is not intended to be used as medical advice, and viewers should consult their physician or healthcare provider should they have additional questions. The viewers should not rely on information contained in these presentations for immediate or urgent medical needs. Additionally, if you think you have a medical emergency, call your physician or go to the emergency department or call 911 immediately. Never disregard professional medical advice or rely on seeking medical care or delay medical care due to information contained in this presentation.
What's going on, Maximal Beings? Doc Mok here. If you haven't done so already, leave us a comment and hit the subscribe button. Let your friends and family know. That way we can get the word out and continue to bash the bro science.